Hello there, Capricorns. Thank you so much for stopping by for your in-depth tarot video forecast for the month of October. Happy Halloween, everybody. You just had some cards fall, but I wasn't really ready. It didn't feel like time to stop shuffling, so I didn't even really look at them. I just threw them back in there. If they're supposed to come back out, they will. Don't stress. All right, so I am just shuffling the cards, fluffing. Oh, there went another one. I think that one, we need to take that one. Just the way it came out. So with cards just jumping out, there's definitely messages here for you from Spirit. The Spirit is saying enthusiastically. That's how I take it when cards actually jump out like that. What was I going to tell you? Oh, this time what we're doing is we're looking at October 1st through the 10th for our first time frame, and then we'll look at all the rest of them all the rest of your time frames 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time, 1 week. All right, so Capricorns, I think we're just about done shuffling. Feels like we're getting close. Let's go ahead and put all your cards down and see what shows up for you. We're actually using the same, well, a similar deck to the one I learned on, which is the Wildwood Tarot. This is my 3rd generation of it. Maybe it's my 4th one. Anyway, I've had to retire at least 2 of these decks. This one's a little bit newer. It's still kind of slick. All the pictures are still fantastic. Good deck. All right, well, deck. Now that I think about it. Anyway, let's start with your home environment for the 1st through the 10th, Capricorns. Actually, let's just start with your environment and be more open about where this actually could be. So environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it is home, but not always, so you want to be open about it, like I just mentioned. What we have going on, there is some improvement that is happening in your environment. Also, Capricorns, I think a lot of you have ghosts in your environment. You're experiencing some kind of hauntings in your environment. And there is something that you are on the verge of changing in your environment as well, and you're just trying to decide what you want that change to look like, what you want that final process to entail. Okay? So that was interesting. That was a little interesting mix for your environment right there. Not too often that I get a haunted environment coming up. I do clear houses for those of you that are in the local area, northern Missouri. Let's see. Let's look at your subconscious leanings, Capricorns. What do we have going on here? Okay. So it looks like what you're thinking about is a situation where you've been kind of pasting a smile on your face no matter how you felt, when something probably was chewing you up from the inside out, and just pretending like everything was good. Now, the reason we generally do that is because we don't want to rock the boat. We're afraid if we say something, even though things are bad now, we'll make them even worse. So we kind of keep quiet. And it looks to me like in your subconscious, you're working on, okay, I'm about ready to just blow here. I'm about ready to let somebody know that this is not cool, and I'm about to be done pretending that everything's okay here. But how do I do that in such a way that does not make me vulnerable, that it doesn't make the situation worse than it already is? And so your subconscious is really looking for that solution. Like, how do I express the truth about how I feel about this situation in a way where I am safe from whoever this other person is that you're expecting a backlash from, basically. And there would be one if you couldn't find a way to make yourself safe. So your subconscious is working on finding shelter so that you can really say your truest truth here and let somebody know that something is really bothering you, even though so far you've just been kind of playing along and pretending it's not. All right, so next thing that I'm looking at for you Capricorns has to do with your learning style and also your communication style. I do see that with your learning style, there's a lot of emotion going into the things that you're learning right now. It looks to me like you may be learning, you may actually be teaching yourself some type of skill or some type of way to tweak things or make things better, maybe that other people do, but you are improving on that. And I also feel like Capricorns, a lot of you may be taking a step back from your spirituality right now. You may be investigating things like agnosticism or atheism. Is that a word? Being an atheist? Let's just say it that way. But it looks to me like I don't know. What would be the opposite of enlightenment? Are you guys going into endarkenment? Are you guys coming into a place where you're not necessarily so sure about all the things you used to be sure in the spiritual realms before? Are you starting to focus more on the negative energies that are in the spiritual realms before? It just feels like you're going backwards. Now you've got a haunted house or you've got a haunted workplace. You've got some kind of environment that's haunted. So there's obviously spirit around you. It's interesting to me that part of your learning style has to do with learning how to downplay or downtone your spirituality. Isn't that an interesting contradiction there? All right. Let's look at your communication style during this time frame. It feels to me like there's somebody that you're just waiting to hear from. And I think you may have sent them multiple messages, emails, texts, letters, whatever, videos, whatever, and just waited to hear from them back. Now, some of the messages that you've sent, you didn't necessarily need a response. Other messages that you sent, they were left open. The person, you know, they kind of implied a response was needed. So there's somebody that I think you're just waiting for them to engage with you in some way, to interact, to communicate. I also feel like there is some communication going on that has to do with there's a couple of things that are coming up. So I think there's going to be two different ways that this resonates. So for some of you, this communication has to do with moving through cycles, moving through natural cycles. So this could be about circadian rhythms, this could be about the seasons, this could be about cycles in relationships, this could be about the cycles of grief, but there's communication about moving through cycles for some of you. For others of you, there is communication about aging, about moving through time in the same body, about aging, okay? Anything else coming up here? I do think there is somebody that you are talking to that you are not feeling really great about talking to. I don't think you've cut them off, but you are communicating with them. They might wish that you would have cut them off because I don't think you're saying very happy stuff to them. This is not happy communication. Okay. All right, so that's communication style right now, Capricorn, during the time frame from the 1st through the 10th of October. What are we looking at next? Next, we are looking at your work. Now, I'm weird about work. For those of you who don't remember, I see work as that thing that you do to make yourself feel productive in the community or to earn a paycheck. I also see work as that thing that we do to improve our own inner self, to make us happier with who we are. Okay? So we're going to look at that both ways. First of all, we're going to look at outer work. Outer work. Once again, we see you waiting for communication whenever it comes to outer work. So communication is kind of becoming a theme here. Waiting for communication is becoming a theme. You do have some decisions to make about work, and here's the trick about these decisions. You can't make a wrong one. Whatever your options are in front of you here, there's not a bad choice. Either way you go is going to be fine. And I feel like you guys probably have 3 or 4 choices. I feel like it's more than 2 for a lot of you. So maybe you have several job offers. Maybe where you're working right now wants to give you a raise or a promotion, and other people are wanting to just hire you onto them, to their company. So you have some offers when it comes into work, or you have some decisions to make. no matter what you decide is going to be a good decision, so don't worry about it. Just pick one. Be happy. And then the next thing that comes up about work is that you are happy. You're in a situation where, especially once you make this decision, you're in a situation where you're being nurtured, you're being empowered, you're being encouraged. You're really being brought into a situation where you can shine. These people may be training you on the job. They may be developing your skills for you. But you are really, you're really blooming in this situation, so to speak. Like, you're really doing well. You're expanding, you're learning, you're adding to the skill set that you already have. And not only do you have all that encouragement and upliftment and support, you're doing very well too. So like, where they're coming in and surrounding you with the support and encouragement and upliftment, you are taking full advantage of that, in that you are using this and putting your energy and your effort into making the best use of all of these extra tools that you're being given, so to speak. Very nice. Let's look at inner work. La da 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 da. Okay, so inner work has to do with this idea of waiting for communication. Once you have that communication theme happening, and it has to do with the idea of, you have a life, Capricorns. You have a mission. You have a purpose. You know what direction you need to be headed, going on down the road, right? And this waiting for communication is kind of for the birds. I feel like you have a situation where somebody thinks you're just going to hold on and kind of put your life on pause until they figure out if they want to collaborate with you, whether it's romantic or business or whatever. And I think where you're growing or improving your own character is you're coming to the point that you're not leaving them in control. You're not leaving Mr. or Ms. Quiet One in control of the decisions that you make. You're realizing, you know what, I have to make my decisions based on the now. And right now, I haven't heard anything from Joe Blow or Nancy over here, so I've got to make my decision as if they're not in the picture. Because right now, they're not. They haven't stepped up to the plate. They haven't stepped into the picture. They haven't given me any kind of communication. And that's your inner work, is this idea of letting go of that, hanging on, holding on, being patient, so that you can actually live your life, so that you can actually pursue your calling, live out your purpose. Not spend the rest of your days on hold waiting for somebody else to figure out what they want to do when it comes to you. That's your inner work. It's going to be to make some decisions in spite of the fact that whoever you would like to collaborate with is not making any decisions. Or if they are, they're certainly not communicating with you about them. All right, so next things that we have going on, we're looking at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Yeah. This kind of just talks about the inner work. Sometimes it'll do that. They'll kind of overlap. This does talk about the idea that you are partnered up with somebody. This could be a friend. This could be a business partner. This could be a romantic partner. I don't really want to take that off the table. But you are officially partnered up with somebody. You are committed to that person. However, you guys really aren't collaborating. And you're not collaborating because nothing is changing when it comes to this person. There's some changes that have to happen before the two of you can collaborate. Those changes have to do with that person. Okay? This isn't that you could be a better person, or you could do something better, or you could look prettier, or you could be skinnier, or you could do this or do that or do whatever to motivate this person into wanting to collaborate with you. This is not what this is about. Whatever is hanging this person up is their own particular obstacle. Okay? So, technically, you guys are partnered up, but you're not collaborating. You're not working together. You've got this verbal agreement that ties you together, but as far as actually where the rubber meets the road, no. You're the one carrying the whole bag here. Because this other person has a change they need to make, and they're not making it. Okay. Next, let's look at those things that you stand for. You had to make some kind of decision. By the time we're seeing you from October 1st to 10th, you had to make some kind of decision, and this decision was regarding somebody who was probably younger than you, but definitely more immature than you, and just a smarty pants. That's not the word Spirit said, but I'm trying to be nice. They were just a smarty pants, sarcastic, cutting, saying things to get other people to laugh, but that were just mean-hearted. I kind of get the sense that this person might have been so mean-hearted that sometimes other people didn't even laugh. So they didn't appreciate his sense of humor either. Or her. Could be her. Probably him, though. Otherwise, that wouldn't have come out of my mouth like that. So you're making a decision about this person. And you're making a decision that says, I'm probably better off by myself than I am with you hanging around adding to the energy. And so you sort of go off doing your own thing. And this is what you're standing up for. So guess what? Probably the person you're standing up for this to is this smarty pants person who was being really cutting. That's probably who you're actually standing up to. We're going to find out because we'll know by how they see you. They see you as continuing on with something that you started at one point as a leap of faith, not knowing where it would take you. Oh, maybe it's not your smarty pants person. They also see you as someone who is a natural born leader that has a unique set of skills and abilities that allows you to lead with assertiveness and confidence, and yet also allows you to really be somebody who can encourage and lift up those people who you're leading. It's like they see you as having the ultimate in leadership skills and abilities. They see you as having the yin and the yang blended together. You know, you can inspire and be confident, and you can also encourage and lift other people up and build their self-esteem as they're working with projects on you. As they're working on projects with you, I should say. Got my prepositions all twisted. I like this. This may even be somebody who works under you that's seeing this. And that is like, you know, why did you leave this person behind? Why did you go off and do your own thing without this person? They may not have understood that. And as you're explaining, you know, what their energy was doing was not actually lifting us up or moving us forward at all. And I have a mission, I have a purpose. I'm not going to be shut down on my mission or purpose by somebody who can't keep their sarcastic mouth shut. And so they're understanding that what you did was actually great leadership style. Could be in the family, not taking it out of the family, but also could very easily be a work situation. Remember, this person, you know, we were talking about earlier, that could be a business partner. That could be a romantic partner that you're making a decision about. Okay. All right. It's going to be different for different ones of you. That's why I can't decide one way or the other. If I could decide one way or the other, then I would know. But I think y'all are getting different manifestations. And also, please remember, this is a general reading, so not everything I see is going to resonate 100% with every single Capricorn that watches this video. Most of it will resonate with most of you. That's how this works. If you need to have some very specific questions answered, then what you need is a private reading, and you can check the description box below to see how to contact me and schedule one of those. Okay? All right. La, da, 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 da. Let's look at what's going on during your flex point here. Now your flex point is where things start to kind of change direction for you during this particular time frame. Okay. So we're seeing you, Capricorns, setting down some kind of responsibilities. There's something that you normally handle or take care of that you're not handling or taking care of right now. And I think that you're not, because right now you're feeling confused. You've got some kind of decision to make, and your heart is telling you one thing and your head is telling you something else. And so there's this battle back and forth. Which way do we need to go here? And you can't be objective. Normally where you might follow your intuition or your gut instinct or whatever word you want to use for it, you're not able to hear that right now because of this inner battle that's going. These voices that are going back and forth are much louder than your intuition at the moment. And so I think you're setting down responsibilities and just trying to deal with this inner battle. Trying to find that intuitive voice. You're not going to find it because it'll be louder than the intuitive voice. So you got to find some peace somehow. All right, what's going on at the same time? There is a situation where there's a whole lot of untapped potential. Tons and tons and tons of untapped potential. And I think you're aware of it. You're aware of all this potential. But you're also realizing that that's not really for me. I don't want to commit to getting into this situation and flowing with this untapped potential. This isn't the direction that I want to go. And so you're making that judgment call that, okay, I can't commit to that because that's not for me. That's what you're deciding. This could be a contract. It could be a person. What else is going on? There is a situation that you used to be waiting for it to manifest and waiting for it to come in. And if this situation would have come in at an earlier time, you would have been all over it. All over it. And now I think that situation is coming into fruition. It's coming into being. Whether it's a relationship or a job or a promotional thing or whatever it is, you know, now you're just not excited about it. Not excited about it in any way. You don't even really want to participate in whatever this is. Maybe you wanted, you know, tickets to a concert and you wanted to see this certain person for years and years and years. Maybe somebody gives you tickets to a concert to see this certain person, and guess what? Now that COVID's here, you're like, I don't know if I want to be around that many people to go to this concert. I just don't think I'm going to do that. You know, it's something like that. It's something that it doesn't necessarily have to be COVID related, but it's something that you wanted for a long time. And now the appeal just isn't there. Okay. So that's what we have going on during your flex period. Let's look next at where we see you at the end of this particular time frame. You are taking some time out here, and to me this is, I don't see this as voluntary timeout. I think this is a time when you're not able to do everything that you would normally do. This is what I like to call involuntary downtime. You're not volunteering for this downtime, yet it's here. Okay? And this involuntary downtime allows you to look at things and to think about things that you normally would not have the time to look at or think about. And so as you have this, even though you didn't take it to actually think about these things, your perspective is still changing during this downtime around something. It's like you're coming out with a more updated, more accurate perspective on some type of situation you normally wouldn't give two thoughts to. And I think the idea of this downtime has brought a real fear up for you. And I think the fear has to be, what if this wasn't a temporary downtime? What if this was a long-term thing? Because I do feel like it's just temporary, it's just short-term. And I think you're really facing that fear. You're looking at, okay, well, what would I do if that was the case? Worst case scenario, what would I do? What would be my plan? And sort of working your way through so that some of that fear can dissipate. And you can feel like that you're prepared if anything does come up. You're just that much more prepared for this extenuating circumstance if it ever comes up in your life. I can't say that it would, but I think you're feeling like, you know what, this helped me to prepare. It helped me to think things through in a way that I haven't before. I think it also gives you some time, this forced downtime gives you some time to really enjoy and soak up your family or your tribe or your support network. It gives you some time to spend with people in a relaxed way where you're not rushing from appointment to appointment and just catching them for 5 minutes at a time or talking to them on the phone while you're driving. But you're getting to spend some time with the people who are really important to you during this downtime and getting to really appreciate and celebrate them. Okay, so that's the beautiful, you've got a couple of silver linings there, but that's the really beautiful silver lining, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and end that time frame, Capricorn. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and then I'm going to take a break, come back, and we'll look at the second full week in October for you guys. See you in a second. Thanks for being here. Hello there, Capricorns. We are back again. This time we're going to look at the time frame from October 11th to October 17th. And let's see what shows up as we look at those time frames. La da 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 da. La da da da. Okay, Capricorns. Ah, my nose is so itchy. What's going on with that? They say that spirits are around when your nose itches like that. Da, 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 da. What do you guys have going on? Look at this. You guys are actually leaving your environment, and I feel like this is a temporary thing where you're leaving your environment, and you're doing it because you're wanting some rest, some relaxation, possibly even some healing. Possibly even some healing. And it looks like as you're leaving your environment, there is somebody that I'm kind of not sure if they're staying at your environment and kind of keeping things, keeping an eye on things for you, or if they're coming with you wherever you are, or you're going to meet them wherever you're going, and they're going to be, like your tour guide, or they're going to help you with booking your hotel, but there's somebody that is looking out for you or that has your back. I think for some of you, this person's going to be, back at home keeping an eye on things. And for others of you, this person that has your back is going to be wherever it is you're going. Maybe you're going to see your father or your mother or an uncle or something, or, You know, maybe there's just somebody that you meet in this new place. Either way, this is a really great person. This is a person that has a lot of integrity, and, you know, they're a good person to have on your side, so it's nice that they have your back wherever they are. I like it. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Okay, Capricorns, you're thinking about some pretty serious stuff here. You're thinking about walking away from a situation where you feel like you've been exploited and clearing out that baggage. Done. That's what's going on in your subconscious. Now, places where we can be exploited or situations where we could be exploited. That could be a work situation, could be a relationship situation, could be a romantic situation, could be a friendship, could be a family relationship where we're being exploited. Whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, what's on your mind and your subconscious is this idea of walking away from this because it is making you feel depleted, because you're being taken advantage of or exploited here. And you just want to get rid of that energy totally and completely. Okay? So your subconscious is working on how you can make that happen. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about learning style and also communication style. So some of you, I'm just going to tell you straight up, some of you for your learning style, Capricorns, you may be coming to see me. You may be getting a reading online or by phone with me. You do actually have, you know, a psychic showing up in your reading. So you could actually be doing a lot of learning through your own psychic abilities, through your communication with the divine yourself, or you seriously could be getting a reading with somebody. It doesn't have to be me. But of course, if you watch my videos, I want it to be me, right? Anyway, let me quit messing around here. So, learning style during this particular time frame, like I said, either you are tuning into your psychic abilities and your ways of communicating with God, the divine, the universe, whatever word you want to put there, whatever label you want to hang on that being that's bigger than us, that's been around before we were in the picture. Okay? So learning a lot through communication with the divine. Some of you may be actually getting a reading to help you do that. Some of you may be doing that completely on your own. Also, there is some communication going on having to do with people that you not only have as colleagues to work with or in your industry, but you also consider friends. So there's some communication going back and forth between you and other people like that, getting some information back and forth to each other about what's going on in your industry, what's going on in your company. What do you need a heads up on? Because I think you're getting some heads ups here from those people as far as learning. And then I think you're also doing some learning about the things that make you happy. You might be exploring different things and finding out what makes you happy. Maybe you're doing some of these things for the first time, and so you're learning all about them. Next, we're going to look at communication style. Once again, same as learning, we have communication style coming up as you're spending some time communicating with the divine. Not only learning from them, but also communicating with them. Blah, da, da, da. What else is happening? I think you are communicating little bits and pieces of information, and I think what you're doing is you're trying to find the best little bits and pieces, the happiest little bits and pieces of information to communicate with some people who are in your sphere of influence. And then you have other people that you are happy to communicate with, and you communicate with them quite a bit, and you're able to make them laugh, and they're able to make you laugh, even when the situation isn't always beautiful or perfect. But I do see a lot of communication going on with people like that during this time frame as well. I feel like the people that you're communicating with, like you're picking the best, brightest, happiest things to communicate with, those are people that you're working on trying to uplift or encourage during this particular time frame. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about work. If you guys remember, I'm weird about work. There's outer work, that work that we do to feel productive in the community or make a living. And then there's also inner work, which has to do with how we feel about ourselves personally, just for us. Okay, so I think that your outer work has to do with some kind of creativity, and I think you're gaining confidence in what you're doing in your outer work. You're seeing that You're seeing that what you're doing is actually really great work, and it may be because other people are actually noticing your work, but it doesn't really have to be. That's not actually indicated in the cards, although I got to tell you, I feel pretty strongly that other people are noticing your quality of work. So yes, you are being very creative in your work. I think you're also collaborating in your work. So you're working with other people as well, at least for part of the work. And I think that's partly where you're getting noticed, is with this, where you're collaborating with other people. They're seeing exactly how much love you put into what you do. Isn't that an interesting thing to say? I'm surprised that came up. I don't say that very often about people loving their work and putting love into their work. Although I think it's the ideal situation, I just don't see that come up too often in readings. So that's cool. I am saying that this work does bring you fulfillment and satisfaction as well. So very cool things to actually have here coming up about work. Yep. We're going to leave it there. Next, we're going to look at inner work. Inner work for you is all about flowing your creativity and letting your self-esteem grow as you're flowing that. Maybe you don't normally allow yourself to flow in your creativity, and now you are. Maybe you're taking one of those artsy-fartsy classes where, you know, you sip a little wine, get a little relaxed, paint a little scene. You probably wouldn't be able to paint it if you were uptight, not drinking the wine. I can see why that class is set up the way it is. That could be. I don't know that that's going to apply to most of you even, definitely not all of you, but it does look, like I said, your inner work is all about exploring things that you can do that really do make you feel fulfilled and satisfied, and that also just call out that creativity out of you that in your everyday life you normally don't call on. Okay? La, la, da, 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 la, da, 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 la, da, da, da. Next thing we're looking at is that part of you that is being expanded during this particular life cycle. What part of your personality? Capricorn, Capricorn. It looks like you have a choice in front of you right now, and you're confused about which way would be best for you to go. I'm just going to tell you right now, even before I tell you the rest of it, the best thing you could do is get a private personal reading if this is really resonating with you, because these cards aren't telling me the best way to go. They're just telling me what your choice basically is. Okay? So this choice that you're confused about which way to go would be to take something that you are already working with or dealing with or interacting with, strip it down to the bare bones, and then rebuild it again into something that you like better than what you like right now. Or start completely new, create something totally and completely new, figure out where you fit in best to make that creation, and go there and do that. Now, for me, this usually is going to fall in one of two places. This is either going to be work. You may have a business that you're stripping down and just changing. Maybe COVID has changed the way that your industry works so much that you just have to do that. Or maybe you're just seeing that, you know what, there's such a much better way to do things than what I have been doing them, that you're just doing that, and it has nothing to do with COVID. But it's easy to see how COVID would be a catalyst for something like this. All right? And the other option would be, you know, if you're working in an industry where you don't have that kind of control to strip everything down and redo it, then the other option would be, you know, maybe strip down your particular job and rebuild it the way that it needs to be right now with whoever you're working for. Now, the other option that you have that you're thinking about is if you own your own business, the other option might be start a completely different business. Just not even try to rework the old business, but start one completely different. You know, whole new name, whole new incorporation, whole new everything. Or looking for a completely different job if you don't have a business, if you're working for somebody else. This is looking for a whole new job, or maybe even considering starting your own business instead of working for somebody else. Okay, so this is the choice that you have if we're looking at work. Now, this could also be in the area of love. One of these cards here will usually be in either one of these two areas, not so much in family, not so much in friendships, work, or love. Okay? And if this is a love situation that I'm looking at here, and I think for some of you it's going to be probably about a 50-50 split, some work, some love. You're very confused about a decision that you want to make. And that decision has to do with taking the relationship that you're in right now and basically shaking it down and reworking it. Rewriting how you want things to go in that relationship, or find somebody who is going to be a more compatible fit with you and just start from scratch with them. Okay? Either way, I would say getting a reading, best thing you could do. If you don't know what you're going to do there. Which I don't think you do. I think you're confused. See, we saw you getting a reading earlier in this spread. That's what's going to happen. You guys are going to get readings from me. I know, I'm obnoxious. All right, let's look at the next thing. And the next thing has to do with what you stand for during this time frame, Capricorn. Here we have this whole idea of indecision coming up again. And this indecision is around starting something new. And I think the indecision that's coming up is coming up because you're interacting about this with somebody who's got narcissistic tendencies. Okay? You want to start this leap of faith. You don't really know where it's going to take you. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but you just know that you 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 know that this is the thing that you need to do right now. However, you made the mistake of talking to Mr. or Ms. Narcissist. And what is a common trait of Mr. or Ms. Narcissist? They can't stand to see anybody succeed more than they've succeeded. Some of them can't stand to see people succeed half as much as they've succeeded. So guess what? If you have a good idea, what are they going to do? They're going to poo all over it. And that's pretty much what they've done. And that's why you're sitting here in confusion, not knowing if you want to actually make the start that you know that you know that you know that you know is the right thing for you to do. This person has you second guessing yourself because you listened to them. So here is what I'm going to tell you, Mr. and Ms. Capricorn. Consider the source. Are they the expert? Have they done what you're getting ready to do? Because the people that you want to ask about this are not the armchair warriors who have never done this before. The people that you want to get input from on this are the people who have done this before, who can give you advice on what's the best way to go about it and what are the pitfalls to avoid. Not somebody who's going to sit here and go, oh, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? No, we're not talking to them about something as important as this. No, we aren't. Capricorn. So anyway, somebody has said that. Now you have this confusion. Now you're standing up for yourself because you have this confusion. You're explaining to somebody that's saying, well, why are you confused all of a sudden? Well, you know, my neighbor George, who spends most of his time riding around town on a lawnmower that he took the blade off, visiting friends and drinking beer, said that I can't do this. I'm not qualified. And, you know, maybe he's right. That's what you're defending here, okay? That is the equivalent of what you're defending here. Okay, so how is this other person perceiving you whenever you're saying, you know, I'm confused because my lawnmower neighbor George said I can't do it? This other person is seeing you as feeling overwhelmed by the situation. They're seeing you as somebody who is a great manifester, but you're manifesting exactly the opposite of what you want right now. And they're seeing this conversation with riding lawnmower George as a catastrophe for your manifestation, for your life, for you following your dream. I get the sense that they can't even believe that you're letting this narcissistic personality tell you what you can and can't do. This person sees you as somebody who's strong, capable, courageous. But you let this person who who's going to poo-poo on anybody and everybody's dream convince you that whatever you are, it's not enough. And I think your other person is just in disbelief that you could even let this happen to you. I kind of am too, Capricorns, because y'all are stubborn. Once you get an idea in your head, you usually follow up on it. Don't listen to narcissist lawnmower George, okay? We don't need his opinion. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about the flex period during this week. And this is where things start to change direction for you, okay, Capricorn? La da 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 da. Oh my gosh, why did you talk to lawnmower George? Mr. Narcissist on the lawnmower. Your piece is just a wreck. Look at that. Your piece is just a wreck because somebody has done the opposite of encouraging you, and now every little step that you're taking seems like a struggle. Even stuff that you used to do easy before seems like a struggle. Why? Because this guy got into your head and messed up your mindset. Stop it. Don't let people do that. You're in charge of you, not them. You're in charge of you, not them. And another thing, if I didn't say it before in this video, I'm going to say it now. And if I did, I'm going to say it again. Just because these cards are on this table and I'm looking at this energy as it sits right now does not mean that your free will cannot change things. So if you notice this energy coming in, you've got the heads up. That's why we make these videos early. You've got the heads up and you can head that energy off at the pass so that you have a better outcome. Don't listen to Lawnmower George. He thinks he knows everything. Consider your freaking source, okay? You guys, I'm getting all pissed off over here just thinking about how you let this narcissistic jerk steal your dream. And trust me, I'm nicing down my words right now. Okay, let's look at what else is going on. Look at you guys. You're starting to find your intuition again. You're starting to follow that North Star inside of you. I love it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there is somebody around you. Maybe they heard what you said or what Lawnmower George said to you, but I think this person is being really sarcastic and kind of doing a parody of your narcissistic person. And making you see just how ridiculous it is to take anything that they say to heart, especially about your goals and your dreams. Okay? And that's what's helping you tune back into your intuition and get out of those doubts and start moving forward in a good way. This is where you start realizing, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of untapped potential there that all I have to do is just do it. Thank God somebody in your life is able to talk to you. Okay, what's going on here at the same time? Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Is this you guys or is this somebody else? That's what I thought. Okay, so Capricorns, you have a front row center seat to witness. How do I want to say this? The pain caused by somebody's divorce, or if they're not technically married but still a couple, I feel like one person decides to leave that coupledom without really a very good reason. In fact, with a terrible reason. They decide to leave that coupledom. And I think that you're getting a front row center seat of how much pain that's putting the other person through as they do that. Okay. All right, so that's what's happening during your flex period. I do think that front row center seat is going to kind of impact how you feel about the whole situation and about how you feel about long-term contracts and ending them and what all's involved in that. I think it's just going to make a big impression on you. For the fact that it was not you doing this, you're not one of the parties involved at all. For you to see this as part of the spread tells me that this makes a big impression on you, and it changes your perspectives around similar situations. Because if it wasn't that big of a deal, it would not show up in your spread. All right, Capricorns, let's look at where we see you towards the end of this week. I feel like you're learning some insider tips from somebody who kind of works behind the scenes on things. This is somebody who's definitely the wind beneath somebody else's wings, whether somebody else realizes that or not. And you're learning some of the ins and outs from this person that this is going to be beneficial to you to know these things. They're totally aware it's going to be beneficial to you, and they don't mind sharing this information. There's nothing saying that they shouldn't. I don't feel like this is illegal. This is not like insider trading tips. Okay? This is just like if you're trying to get a contract with a big company, you could be talking to the person, the decision maker's personal assistant, and finding out, you know, what are his pet peeves and what is he actually looking for, so that you can present in a way that works well for you. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this can play out. That's just one example. But like I said, I think you're getting some insider information from somebody who works more or less unnoticed or behind the scenes, somebody who doesn't get a lot of credit for the things that they do. Okay? And I think that you're also taking some time to find your happiness. You're taking some time to do things that make you happy, that you enjoy, that are lifting your self-esteem up. Okay? So that's where we see you at the end of the week. All right there, Capricorns. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Then we'll come back and look at the next week here in a few minutes. See you soon. Hello there, Capricorns. We are back again. This time we are looking at the time frame of October 18th through the 24th. We're going to put down cards and see what comes up for your energy during this time frame. Capricorn. There we go. All right, let's see what we have. First of all, we're going to look at your environment and see what comes up during this time frame. There's something that's coming up about your environment that's telling me that things are not really in balance here. It could be that if you're in an environment that takes energy and effort of multiple people to make it run right, and you know, there's certain people are putting in more energy and more effort than others. Maybe if you have roommates and you guys are all paying rent, this could be, you know, somebody's paying their rent and then somebody's not, and so other people are having to pick up the slack. Could be something like that. Could actually be something going on with the level of a home too for some of you. But there's this whole lack of balance that shows up in the environment. And you're not feeling very satisfied with the environment either. You know, like for some people that have these beautiful gardens, even productive gardens that maybe aren't so beautiful, you know, they can feel satisfied or fulfilled in their environment, or, you know, just having the place decorated in a way that they like, they can feel satisfied or fulfilled. I don't think that you're very happy with whatever is going on in the environment that's important to you. You're not feeling like that's satisfying or things are not balanced in the environment. Now this could also be, I'm getting like if there's too much water in the environment or if there's too much heat in the environment. This could be hurricanes, this could be fires, this could be a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal, like a hurricane or fire type of deal, but there's definitely something going on causing a lack of balance. And then right in the middle here, we have a card that tells me that there's an end of challenge when it comes to the environment. So there's something that has been challenging you about this environment that comes to an end. Now that should be bringing fulfillment. That should be bringing balance if we have a challenge to an end. So there's something that is actually improving right in the midst of these other two things that are not making you very happy. Kind of interesting how that shows up. And remember, environment's anywhere where you have energy or effort invested, so we don't have to be talking about home. We want to be kind of open about where this environment might be. Next thing that we're looking at from the 18th through the 24th is your subconscious leanings. So it looks to me like there's a situation here where you were working together with somebody or collaborating with somebody or in a relationship with somebody, and either they let you go or you let them go. This was not a mutual type of agreement that, okay, we're not going to work together or collaborate or be in a relationship anymore. And I feel like, is this them? Is this Capricorn or the other person? The other person, okay. I feel like this other person is stalking you. So it may be you that actually let them go, but no, that doesn't feel right. I think they let you go, but even though they let you go, they're feeling like, they're still feeling the need to keep an eye on you. Now that's kind of jacked up, don't you guys think? Like if somebody let you go, they shouldn't care what you're doing now. But they do. So what that tells me is that they still care what you're up to. So one of two things is happening. Either they let you go hoping that you would somehow reel them back in, it was a bluff, or they let you go and now they're jealous of you because you're doing better than them. One of the two. Or they're worried that maybe you'll do better than them and so they're jealous. But whatever's going on, they're keeping an eye on you. They're stalking you, whether they're communicating with mutual friends, whether they're on, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Who knows? By the time this video is actually applicable, TikTok may not even be functioning in the US. But, social media. Still watching you. And I think this is what's on your mind. This is what's on your subconscious. I think you're working around in your subconscious like, why? This doesn't make sense. Why? Number one, why did this happen? And number two, why are they still watching me? I think you're feeling offended and indignant. Like, you know what? If you're going to step out of my life, then, step completely out. Just step away from the sandbox. Don't be still looking around, mucking around. It feels like this indignant and kind of like, I don't think you want them to see what's going on in your life now. You feel like they haven't deserved that. They haven't earned that now. Okay? All right, Capricorn, let's look at the next section here. This talks about learning style and also communication style during this particular time frame. I think during this particular time frame, your learning style is actually being impacted by the emotions over whatever this was where somebody let you go. no matter what that situation was. So you're still having feelings about that, and I think that's making it really hard for you to focus on learning new things, at least for particular topics during this time frame. I think you're really still trying to figure out what happened. And that's clouding your judgment. It's clouding your perception abilities. It's clouding your focus abilities. There are certain areas where I feel like you can distract yourself and you can learn a lot. Some of you may be taking time to practice a musical instrument and getting so wrapped up into that you're forgetting about this other thing. You know, or you're doing something that is taking so much of your thought and so much of your focus as you're learning it, as you're improving it, as you're working on it, that you just don't have the leftover energy to be thinking about this other thing and to let it distract you. And other than that, it feels like there's one, maybe two things, but for most of you, just one thing that can take enough of your focus to do that. Other than that, I don't see you really learning a whole lot right now. I really feel like just this whole situation has you so distracted. It's just too hard for you to focus to learn new information at the moment, except for in that one area, maybe two, but for most of you, just one area. Communication style. Some of your communication is really dark, really depressed. I feel like some of you Capricorns may even be suicidal, and I think that you may be communicating that to somebody in your sphere of influence. Maybe not communicating that directly, but implying it. I also think that with certain people, your communication is very direct, very much to the point, very focused. I feel like this has to do with work. I feel like at work, you're able to just put this down, this emotional situation down, and you're able to focus on work. And I feel like your communication is very much focused on, okay, what's the task at hand? And getting that accomplished, and what does it take to get that accomplished, and let's do it. I do feel like you have somebody who's in your sphere of influence that you can have some of those dark conversations with, where I think you're kind of exploring more the negative side of humanity. You know, because let's face it, not everything is sunshine and roses when you're looking at humans. And I think you're able to really talk to this person and communicate about some of the stuff that you've been through recently. And I think that talking to this person helps you to realize that, you know, maybe everybody isn't like that, and maybe every day isn't going to be as bad as that day. And, you know, things can get better and things will get better. I think talking to this person really helps you to adjust your attitude, even though I feel like the things that you're talking about, they're pretty dark. I'm not going to mince any words. They're pretty dark. But it's like, you know, people come to me and talk about how things happen sometimes in relationships, and, you know, even in working relationships or friendships. And one of the things that I like to remind people of is, you know, that's the thing about working with humans. They're not perfect. We're not perfect. They're not perfect. Sometimes the interactions can be less than perfect. Sometimes they can get really jacked up. Some humans out there are really jacked up. But then when you get to looking at them and look what they've been through, you can kind of understand why they are. It's hurt people that hurt people. And I think that talking about these types of things is what actually helps you sort of get a grip on the situation that's causing so much emotion, and helps you to realize that, yeah, some people are messed up. Some people do some really messed up stuff. And some people are messed up enough to just keep on loving them anyway. Maybe I'm one of them. But even just being able to look at that and face that helps you to be able to look at things through a brighter lens as far as the world and relationships in general. Okay, so that's learning style and communication style. La da 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 la da da da. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at for you Capricorns has to do with work. I feel like you've been dealing with a lot of drama at work and you're really over it. You're just tired. You're over it. You don't want to deal with that. You've got this extra stuff going on, extracurricular activity that has you drained anyway. The last thing you need to do is go to work and deal with more draining BS. Okay? I like work in that it seems to be the place where you can forget about all the other stuff going on, but it does look like it's very tiring because there is a lot of drama there. And I see you moving into a situation that has less drama. You may be changing jobs, or you may be just straight up quitting and continuing on with something that you've been doing on the side for a while, or going full-time at a place where maybe you were part-time before. But I do feel some kind of shift away from a situation that has a lot of drama in the workplace into a place that's much more balanced and much more sanity-based, if you'll allow me to say that. You guys know I don't candy coat anything, so let's not act surprised that I'm not. All right? I don't want to hear it in the comments if you don't like it. There's lots of other readers to watch too. But I don't candy coat because I can't help you. If I candy coat it, I can't help you because it's only honesty that actually, you know, it is the truth that sets us free very literally. We can't make good plans about the future if we don't know the truth. So I'm not going to tell you that your life is all cotton candy and daisies because then you can't do anything to make it better. You think it's all fine and then you walk into a door that smacks on your face and breaks your nose when you listen to a reader like that. I'm not that reader. Okay? If you're walking into a door, you're going to be carrying a big stick or something after you listen to me. All right, let me get off my soapbox. Anyway, you're moving from a dramatic situation at work to something that is much more calm, and this is something that you've been working on for a while. It kind of leads me to believe that this is another job, another position, or this is something that you've been doing on the side, that you're just focusing more energy on that other thing than you are on the place that where all the drama is. Inner work. Your inner work really is to get into a more balanced place for yourself, to leave behind those things that have been having a negative impact on you or have been dragging you down. Whether we're talking about a thought process, a psychic vampire type person, whether we're talking about a work situation, literally, and this is all tied together, but something that's been dragging you down or holding you back, your inner work is to find the balance to pull away from that. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me of that part of your personality that is growing, being grown or being expanded right now is how I really like to say it. La da, 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 da. Look at this. Okay, so what we have here is you're taking something that you used to do, an activity that you used to have, or a relationship that you used to have, and you're giving it a new chance. You're pulling it off the back burner and you're starting to pay more attention and put more energy into this thing. It feels really good. I mean, it feels like this is kind of a relief. It feels like this is something that you can tell your friends about and they can be happy for you about this. It feels joyful. It feels like something worth celebrating. Whatever this is that you're pulling off of the back burner and paying more attention to now, this is something that you can celebrate with your friends. And I think that even as you're doing this in a very logical way. You're looking at, does this make sense or not as you do this? Doesn't mean it can't be a relationship. Can be, especially if you have an air sign in your rising sign or your moon sign. Air signs make a lot of decisions about relationships using their noggin rather than their heart. All right. Let's look next at what you're standing for right now. Okay, so Capricorn, I feel like you're normally a very peaceful, well-grounded person. Like you normally are pretty zen. But right now you're feeling some severe insecurity is what I'm hearing. Definitely some insecurity, but I'm hearing severe. About a choice that you have in front of you that you need to make. And this choice has to do with, am I going to keep everything status quo and the same? Or am I going to go out and create something totally and completely new that I've never done before, and I'm not exactly sure I would be creating it all by the seat of my pants? What am I going to do? And I think that this decision is making you lose your Zen feeling, your normal Zen feeling, and bringing up those insecurities. And you're standing up for this. Somebody's saying, hey, you normally are pretty confident and laid back, and lately you seem a little bit more uptight. What's going on? And you're telling them about this situation. Now, how are they seeing you? They're seeing you as somebody who right now is pretending everything's okay to the world, pasting on a smile, not stirring the pot or anything, because, you're not telling somebody that some things are really bothering you because you're afraid if you do, you're going to rock the boat. Didn't we see this somewhere else in one of your other time frames? I'm thinking we did. At the same time that they see you sort of holding everything back and pasting on that fake smile, they also see you as somebody who knows what you bring to the table, and you're looking for where you can take what your strength, what you bring to the table, and plug it in somewhere and be appreciated for what you have. And they're seeing you as, right now, Mr. or Ms. Capricorn is pasting that smile on their face, but it's only a matter of time before they're out adventuring, doing their own thing, creating their own reality. It's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of them finding that right opportunity. That's how they're seeing you. That's how I'm seeing you too. All right. I don't think you meant for them to understand that much about you. But they do. They understand people in general. Okay, next we're going to look at your flex period during this time frame. This is the time where things start to change direction a little bit for you. What do we have coming up here? First of all, I feel like spiritually you're feeling really abundant. So you're learning some things, you're understanding things, you're reaching into enlightenment. The problem is your self-esteem. And maybe that's why you're having the spiritual enlightenment, is because your self-esteem needs a little help right now. And I think that there's only so far that you can go towards spiritual enlightenment before your self-esteem starts to come up. You can't have an understanding of how much Spirit appreciates you and is happy about you without having your self-esteem come up. Because if your self-esteem is in the pits, you're never going to understand how much Spirit appreciates you. And so we're seeing this level of enlightenment go up, but your self-esteem is still down. Well, that self-esteem is going to be changing. As the enlightenment comes up, self-esteem is going to be coming up too. But right now, it's still kind of down. And I think part of what's going on with this enlightenment is the fact that you're realizing, maybe even some of you for the first time, you're realizing that your self-esteem is not in a healthy place. Maybe you never even thought about it before. Maybe you just always assumed you had good self-esteem. Now you're starting to realize you've got some self-defeating thoughts, and what are you going to do about them? Because this enlightenment is showing them to you. Enlightenment is shining that light on them. It's like putting the flashlight on those self-esteem issues. Enlightenment helps us see the truth so that we can move forward in a positive and productive way in our lives. All right, what else is going on as we're seeing the truth about self-esteem here and we're feeling abundant spiritually? I think, Capricorns, you're putting yourself into a vulnerable position because you're trying to help somebody who has gone through something that seemed devastating to them. This could be helping somebody who was, who has gone through the hurricane and lost their house, or a fire and lost their house. But you're helping, you're uplifting, you're nurturing that person. You're probably financially doing something to support them as well. And that's putting you into a vulnerable position, because I think, Capricorns, what you're finding is that it's really easy to give more than what is actually easy or comfortable for you to give. Because you're looking at their situation and they're so much worse off than you that you're trying to fix the whole thing for them. Here's what Spirit is asking me to point out to you. You, Capricorns, can't make yourself poor enough that somebody else could become wealthy or even okay. So while it's not a bad thing to help, you want to make sure that you're not passing those healthy boundaries to where now you're not able to take care of yourself in a proper way. Because somebody who's had something devastating happen to them, you can't be the only one helping them. They need other resources as well. Otherwise, that devastating thing not only happens to them, but it also happens to you. Many need to help carry that load, not just one. What else is going on at the same time frame? Looks to me like you're taking some time off. Some of you are taking some time off to run for public office. I think it might be a little late for that to happen. Isn't it? But that's what I get here. I think you've been running for public office. For those of you that this resonates, you've been running for public office already, but this is like taking some time off to make a big push right here. Okay? For others of you, you're taking time off from your regular work to go do something else completely different, where you are a leader or one of the leaders there. Okay, so that's what we've got going on during your flex period. You know, maybe you're with FEMA. Maybe you're going away from your regular job and you're going with FEMA to help hurricane victims or people in Iowa, or, well, people in Iowa will probably be taken care of by now, I would hope. You know, or fire victims or something. Okay. Let's look at where you are during the last part of this time frame. We find you making a decision here, and I feel like this decision is totally up to your free will. Some of you are going to choose one way and some of you are going to choose the other. Your decision has to be with, are you going to follow your happiness on the one hand? Or are you going to make somebody happy who's a sarcastic little smarty pants on the other hand? Who can say very cutting things and not think twice about it and think that they're funny. So what are you going to do, Capricorn? You're going to follow your happiness? Or are you going to do what this jerk wants you to do? Probably younger than you too, by the way. You get to decide. That's a decision that you're making once we get to the end of this time frame. Okay? Alright guys, thanks for hanging in there with me. I'm going to go ahead and take a break and come back, and we'll hit the last week of October when I come back. See you soon. Okay, Capricorns, here we are back again one last time for the last time frame here, which is October the 25th. My phone is on silent. Why is this thing talking to me? I guess it heard me say the words O-K-A-Y. All right, let's focus, shall we? This is going to be for the time frame of October 25th through the 31st, Capricorn. Let's see what we have coming up for you. Mm. Okay, Capricorn, starting off with your environment for this time frame. Remember, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Could be home, but could be other places as well. You want to keep your mind open for that. Looks like you have some sweet things going on in your environment. You're spending some time with some people that you're really enjoying. And I feel like there's nothing boring about this time that you're spending with these people in your environment. This can be quite interesting, possibly even dramatic, but a lot of this is just really some very sweet time together. All right, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your subconscious leanings during this time frame. Okay, Capricorns, there's something going on here where there's something that you know is perfectly appropriate to let go, but you're having a hard time letting go of it anyway. This has to do with some kind of heartache or heartbreak, and you're just really not healing from it yet, and that's part of why you're not letting go. So there's some kind of heartache or heartbreak that shows up here. To me, what comes in is that there has not been closure about this situation, so there's still a lot of questions rolling around in your head, and that's why you're having a hard time letting go, because you really want to know some answers. You really want to know some answers. And so your subconscious has this just kind of rolling around. This pain is not going away. You're not finding any kind of healing because you're just rolling around in all this energy looking for the answers that you don't have. Okay? We don't want to do this. We want to put our attention somewhere else. Sometimes we just have to acknowledge that we just don't have the answers, and that's just going to have to be the way it is, and start focusing on other things that are in front of us that are good for us. I know, it's a lot easier to say that than to do that. Looking at communication style and also learning style. I think you're definitely learning about some of the things that you're interested in. They're drawing you to ask questions or do research or find out the information. That's definitely coming up here. I do think you're also learning some things that make you more valuable to a company or to a person, that maybe even make you more valuable to yourself. You're learning new skills or new information that helps you to create more income, either for yourself or for a company or somebody that you work for. And I also think that you're learning something about somebody in a very passionate type of way for a lot of you Capricorns. Now keep in mind, general reading. Not everything's going to apply to every single Capricorn I see here, but a lot of you are definitely learning some things about passion and what makes somebody else tick in that area. Okay? Communication style during this time frame. There is somebody in your sphere of influence that you are really not talking to that much, and when you do speak with them, you're being very vague and just kind of intentionally avoiding giving them any details or any information. Now, there are other people around that you're talking to quite a bit. Quite a bit. And for some of the people that you're talking to, it's just conversation. There's not there's not a whole lot coming out of it. You're just enjoying their company and enjoying the conversation that you're having with them. But for others, you're having conversations where these are very fruitful conversations. These are good networking conversations that lead to ideas for opportunities and maybe people that you might want to partner up with or work with or So definitely some very fruitful conversations are happening during this time as well. Okay, so we've got a lot to focus on here. I like that. I like that. All right, next thing that we're looking at has to do with work. I think it was Sagittarius got this a couple of times yesterday, but there's a lot of confusion at work. You're still working, but there's a lot of confusion around work and around what's expected at work and what's going to be happening at work. And I feel like there's a lot of fear in the people that work where you work. There's a lot of fear. I think morale is really low. I think you guys are really kind of expecting the worst in some kind of situation. Whenever it comes to work, you're not expecting anything abundant or plentiful there. You're expecting cutbacks and yeah, that's really all I'm going to say about that. This really makes me wonder, Chris, I am recording this on September, what's today, the 14th. This makes me kind of wonder if we aren't going to end up back into COVID lockdowns or quarantines, pretty heavy duty or something, the way this is showing up here. I know the UK is already dealing with it. Coming back pretty big. Okay, what's happening as far as where's your personality being grown or expanded right now? Where is your personality being grown or expanded right now? Okay, so you're starting to realize that there are certain things that you don't want to share with people at work about your private life and your personal goals. And vice versa. There are things that are personal that that your personal friends can know about, but they don't need to know about work. Okay, so you're kind of keeping your friends and your colleagues separate here as far as what kind of information you're sharing with each group. All right. And it looks to me like the thing that you're not sharing is this idea that you're getting ready to take a leap of faith and do your own thing and not have a boss anymore. You're getting ready to start up your own thing and you're going to be the boss. You might be the only person in that company, but nobody's going to be looking over your shoulder. And I don't think that you're sharing that with anybody just yet. Okay? Now, you're still making preparations, and that's why. As far as inner work is really the whole idea of building up that confidence, making sure that all your ducks in a row, doing all your due diligence before you actually start this. I kind of feel like Capricorns, you're chomping at the bit. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. There's so much confusion at work. There's so much, unknown at work. This is the prime time for me to do this, and you just want to jump. And your inner work is to hold back, to do the due diligence, to make sure that you have all the information that you need before you make that jump. Maybe even to wait to make that jump until you have no choice but to make the jump. Milk that job for everything it's worth is really kind of the inner work here. Have some self-restraint. Learn as much as you can in preparation, and then when the time comes, jump. That's the inner work. La da 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 da. Next thing we're looking at are those things that you stand for. You feel like you've made yourself really much too vulnerable in a situation that you thought was ideal, and later on you realize that it was not. And so now you're putting up boundaries, and you're not letting other people make you that vulnerable, or you're not allowing yourself to be that vulnerable in other situations, whichever way this actually applies to you. Because you're realizing that sometimes things look really good from the outside, but once you get in and you're starting to work with them, then you see where the problems are. And I think that you're really happy about this idea of finding these methods of basically defense until you know for sure what you're dealing with. And so that's something that you're standing up for. Somebody is asking you why you have these boundaries up. You're letting them know this is why. This other person sees you as somebody who is gaining a lot of security, like you're feeling a lot more secure about yourself. Excuse me. They're also feeling like, I think this person is getting some feelings for you, actually. They've definitely got a lot of admiration for you. And they also feel like you're kind of on a break right now, like you're rethinking some things and refocusing on some things because you are getting ready to make some changes. So did you tell them? Did you tell them that you're getting ready to make some changes, or did they just figure that out? Because remember, we saw that you're being really careful about who you talk to. All right, next thing that we have coming up. We're going to be looking at your flex time. This is where things start to take on a little bit of a different angle for you, a little bit of a different trajectory during this time frame. What do we have? What do we have? It seems like you've got somebody in your life who likes to be in charge and likes to make decisions for you. And really, I think, Capricorn, that a lot of times you're somebody who's pretty self-sacrificing. Like you don't mind giving of yourself to help somebody else out. In fact, that makes you feel happy and satisfied and fulfilled. This person, I feel like, is sort of taking advantage of that. They're pushing the envelope. They are making decisions for you that you normally or should be making for yourself. They're just deciding for you. Oh yeah, Mr. and Ms. Capricorn, they'll do that. They'll help you with that. You know, they'll help me with this. They'll do whatever. You know, and they're just volunteering you for stuff, whether it's stuff to help them or stuff to help somebody else. I think that's going to be different for different ones of you. And what's going to happen is that makes you feel less empowered because you're not making these decisions about how you're spending your time. Somebody else is. And the things that are priorities to you that you need to take care of, they would be falling through the cracks if you didn't say something. I think you're saying something. I think you're letting this person know that they have overstepped their territory. And I think you're doing this in such a way that they will never overstep your territory again, Capricorns. Okay? Because you don't like that unempowered feeling. That's not why you came here. It's not why you came to this planet, to feel unempowered. All right, what else is going on at the same time? Your self-confidence is doing pretty good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. It does look like you're detaching from somebody. You may be, intentionally loosening any bonds that you have with people at work if you know that you're going to be doing something new before long. This could be also about, somebody that is around you in more of a romantic sense. Maybe you're detaching from them. It looks to me like whatever this is that you're detaching from, you were a little bit afraid to detach from it before, and now that fear is gone. That fear is gone. Your self-confidence is up. And so now you're pulling back. You're pulling back. You don't have to do with toxic stuff anymore. You want healthy stuff. You don't want drama. What else is going on during this time frame? There is something that you're indecisive about, and this indecision comes into play because you are trying to set a new foundation. You could be starting a new business. You could be starting an online business. You could be starting a new relationship, and you're really wanting it to work, but I think you're really indecisive about how do I make this work. That's what's showing up here. How do I make this work? How do I set that foundation in a high quality way that's going to last? All right, let's look at your last cards. These are telling me where you are at the end of the month. So where do we see you here? Oh, this is nice. I see you finding some fulfillment and some satisfaction. I almost feel like, here's what I feel like, Capricorns. Do you remember this character that has been showing up before in your time frames for this month? I think he showed up a couple of times. Who could be really sarcastic and cutting. Could be a she too. But for most of you, I think it's a he. Younger person. you're finding yourself in a situation where you're feeling very fulfilled and satisfied, and guess what you're doing, Capricorns? You're going back in front of this person who could be sarcastic and cutting, and you're kind of putting it in their face about what you've accomplished. This is something that they said, oh, you can't do that. Well, now you're going back and you're showing them, I have done that. I want to say, ha ha, nanny nanny boo boo. This is really the energy that I'm picking up from you guys. I think that you're going to keep it a little bit more professional, couth, classy. That's the word I'm looking for. I think you're going to keep it a little bit more classy than that, but you're definitely going to put this in this person's face. And what's interesting is we see this person's personality shift too. As they see that you've actually accomplished this, they're no longer wanting to be sarcastic and cutting towards you. They're just wanting to count you as a friend and try to make you laugh and basically be charming to you now. Little opportunistic booger, isn't it? Don't be sucked in. You know what their real personality is like. Don't let yourself get sucked in by that charmingness now that you have what they thought you couldn't do. Okay, so that's what we have for your month, Capricorns. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Thank you also for all the thumbs ups and for sharing this video with other people who may benefit from it as well. And of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions from me. It is because of all of you guys' support for me at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much once again. Everybody have a fantastic, peaceful, thrilling month. And if I don't see you here for a private reading or a private Reiki session, then I'll see y'all back on the next video. Peace out.